Especially before Sunday system, we spoke with the Baltimore Department of Environmental Protection and Sustainability. Same issues here in Baltimore County. Some of our creeks as salty as the middle portion of the Chesapeake Bay after these events. So again, if you're a trout lover, fresh water, make sure you take care of your streams. Right now, though, we're watching the forecast, and we begin with the good news: snow on the ground, and as we talked about, fire in the sky. So far, this has been one of the prettiest sunsets we have seen. Sent to us pictures at WJZ.com this week. This is because of those clouds that are moving in well ahead of that Sunday system, and this is from James Miller in Whitehall, Baltimore County. Again, if you have any photos, we'd love to see them. Pictures at WJZ.com. First alert radar, pretty quiet. Ironically, we do have a little bit of snow out there, really just flurries, not accumulating, but Frederick up to Thurmont crossing 15 is going to try to get into far western portions of Carroll County, Woodville up to Westminster, but just flurries. Nothing that's going to stick, nothing that is going to mess with the morning commute. 37 in Baltimore, 38 in Annapolis, 37 Easton, 37 Cambridge. One of the reasons why, in addition to this being very light and spotty, not worried too much about roads because temperatures are still above freezing. But as we get closer to sunrise, temperatures will cool back into the upper 20s and the lower 30s. Westminster at 30, Baltimore 29, even the lower eastern shore, Salisbury, Cambridge, Cross the Bay, Lexington Park, all below freezing. That's enough to refreeze any of the snow that melted and the ice that melted during this afternoon's warmth. And the 40s. Your neighborhood forecast taking you to the west and the northwest sides. Again, overall decent conditions, not a frigid morning, but it will be cold enough to still wear the winter wear and be worried about a couple slick spots on the walk to the bus stop or walking out to the driveway as well. 29 in Mount Airy, Newmarket 29, Tawnytown 30, 31 Pikesville, 30 in Cockeysville, 31 Dundalk and White Marsh also just below the freezing mark. And your bus stop forecast mentioned the slick spots possibility as your kiddos, your students walk to the bus. I think that there's a low risk of that, but they're used to it by this point. A lot of those sidewalks are clearing and have melted, but word to the wise, again, this time of year you always have to be careful where you're stepping, right? Temperatures rebound back above freezing by 11 a.m. Back in the mid to upper 30s, some near 40 with lots of clouds in the afternoon. Again, these clouds could produce a decent sunrise tomorrow morning, and maybe if they stick around long enough, decent sunsets tomorrow evening with temperatures in the 30s. That's where we'll peak in the afternoon, mid to upper 30s. That is a little chillier than today. 38 in Baltimore, 36 Frederick, 34 in Hagerstown, 38 Cambridge, 36 in Elkton. So again, an afternoon that's colder than today, but still above freezing. That's what's nice about this warm-up. Even as we get little pauses and little stops or pauses in the warm-up, it's still going to be a decent day. Winds gusting 20 to 30 miles an hour through the afternoon. That will make those 30s feel like 20. So a heads up that just because it's 38, not necessarily what it feels like, dress for 28. Still a solid day. Even better on Friday, lighter winds, sunshine, and a high of 40. Valentine's Day, 50 degrees. Cold to start, but middle of the afternoon when everyone's getting out and about. Temperatures in the 40s, winds not too bad. And then there's that Sunday system. Track is still a little uncertain, but certainly the farther south you go across the state of Maryland, the greater the chance you have of getting rained on Sunday afternoon and evening. And it's possible we could see a mix or a brief changeover to some snow. I would say rain is the greater likelihood with temperatures in the 30s and 40s, mainly south of I-70. Fine-tuning that forecast, and we will keep you updated. Alex.
Coming up after